Good morning, families. My name is Anjanette McGee Cason, and I'm from Florida Diagnostic Learning and Resources System. We're a discretionary project from the Department of Education, and we support Orange County Public Schools along with 5 other Central Florida counties. Well, guess what? You chose the right session to end your day. Today, we're going to talk about the road to behavior strategies, tips and tools for families and caregivers. If you are in need of a translation, on this slide, it shows you and demonstrates for you how you can select the button in order to have this session to be capitalized in your language. The agenda for this training is outlined in the Families and Caregivers Learning Goals chart. A learning goal is objective of what you're going to learn today. And guess what? The students at school are given learning goals to prepare their daily learning. And so they know what the teacher has in mind for them to learn that day. Today, you all have family and caregivers learning goals. And I'm going to read for you the 4 learning goals. Today, you're going to define the meaning of behavior, understand how adult and child behaviors play a role in handling behaviors. You're also going to learn how to examine challenging behaviors while learning some virtual online activities. And last, you're going to utilize behavior strategies to help your children at home. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever flown on an airplane or watched a movie of passengers listening to instructions from a flight attendant before they take off their destination? There are so many important procedures given by the flight attendant so that you'll have a safe flight in the event of an emergency. Then you know exactly what you need to do. So today, I am your flight attendant. That's right, Anjanette McGee Cason is going to help you be very safe. But what I want you to do as your flight attendant, as they ask you, I want you to put on your oxygen mask first. You're going to have to learn to take care of you first so then you can take care of your children. Just as they share with you on as a flight attendant, you have to put this on first, then you put it on your child. Don't you worry today. I'm going to give you tips and strategies to help with children with their behavior. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and dive in. What is behavior? Behavior is a form of communication. It can be verbal and nonverbal. Webster's dictionary defines behavior as, you know what? It's the way one acts or conducts oneself, especially towards others. Understanding behavior plays a significant role in adults and children. Before we can help our children with their behavior, we first need to look at what triggers us as an adult. Think about the question, what can throw you off as an adult with your behavior when you start your day? For example, I'm going to share with you some of my triggers that I have to deal with as an adult. Well, I don't know about you all. Every single day, I have to drive on Interstate 4. Anybody else out there have to drive there with me? Well, then you'll understand that every day there's a trigger because there's either accidents, people are backed up, and you know what? Some people don't like to use their turn signals, and that could be a trigger. Maybe that's not your trigger, but those are some of my triggers. Perhaps your trigger is you need a cup of coffee every single day. And if you don't get your coffee, well, you might be a little cranky, right? Well, guess what? Those are adult triggers that we have to learn to deal with. We can't take it out on others because there's a lot of traffic. We should not take it out on others if you haven't had your caffeine. So what can we do? Let's deal with our trigger and understand our behavior and what helps us to self-regulate. As we model self-regulation, it's going to model for our children. So, for example, one thing I have learned to do as I'm driving on that beautiful Interstate I-4, I've learned to listen to some podcasts, listen to some of my favorite music, or also to keep a positive mindset, knowing that guess what? If I enter I-4 and I'm driving on it, most likely there will be a traffic jam every morning. Now you say, hey, if you don't get your coffee and you need that caffeine first thing in the morning, you have to figure out what can you do. Maybe Prepare early in the morning to have your own cup of coffee if you don't have time to go through a drive-through to get that coffee, or perhaps to have some couple caffeine snacks in your bag that will help you start your day. Now, let's examine what triggers children. Now, we have triggers, children have triggers. Perhaps it's picture day, and your child wants to wear their favorite shirt. And it's a few minutes before you have to go out the door. They're wanting to put on the shirt, and guess what? They cannot find their shirt. And it's their absolute favorite, and they have a meltdown. And you just say, oh, just get another shirt. They're like, no, I want that shirt. Well, we need to help them with the regulation of that because it can really start off to a rough day. So, what can we do to help our child that says, I want that shirt and that's the only shirt I'm going to wear? Well, perhaps let's look up before. Maybe we can place our shirts and our shorts and our socks out the night before so that we can set our children up for success. And it also teaches them a skill of preparation before so that you'll be ready for the next day. So we kind of have to examine those triggers to understand behavior and how we react to things that are not going the way that we really want them to. As I mentioned, we're going to examine behavior. Let's take a look at this slide and let's look at what are some causes of behavior. Do you know that some causes of behavior can start off with your child as they, have routines and schedules and how things can change? Do you know oftentimes children work best when they have a routine every single day? That means that things don't interrupt their schedule. But as we know, life, things can interrupt our schedule. But it's oftentimes if you could either take a sheet of paper or I have one right here that I printed up, it's a home schedule. It teaches them what to do first, what's second, what's next, and then what to do last. This is a schedule routine. Now you say, well, what are these boxes for? Well, I have some visual supports here of some pictures. So right now, it's still about breakfast time or maybe brunch. It's Saturday, and I want to eat. So I'm pointing to eat. If our kids are verbal or nonverbal, visual supports are very important. But you know what? Before I just wake up and eat, I don't know about you, but I like to brush my teeth. So we want to let our children know when you wake up, first you need to brush your teeth. And guess what? I also want to what? Wash my hands. So then I'll be able to eat. So this is a schedule of a home activity you could do. First, brush your teeth, wash your hands, then you can eat. And you can have our kids to place these, or they could draw their own pictures. Oftentimes, I tell families if you have like a CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, whatever store you like to utilize, take your pictures of what I call in the natural environment, take pictures and have them upload at the CVS pharmacy. They're usually like 5 to 10 cents per picture, and you can use real pictures, and the kids can place what you're going to do first, what you're going to do second, and then so. So this is a great way to kind of teach the children visual supports and also help us to manage the behavior of having a routine. Sometimes our children also face causes of behavior when it comes to anxiety. Children can be anxious about a lot of things. For example, taking a test at school. The thought of even going to school can bring up anxiety, or a new environment or situational anxiety. Keep an open mind to communicate with your child and talk about things that cause that behavior. For example, if your child is having some anxiety when it comes to taking tests, perhaps do some practice tests at home. Share with them, like, okay, this is how what a test is going to look like. And you can ask questions based on whatever the subject area is so they can get an opportunity to kind of learn what is it like to take a test. Oftentimes kids can say, you know what, you know, I'm anxious about just like everyday life. Communicate with your child about their feelings. I'm going to show you some cards later when we talk about emotions and how we want our kids to express themselves. Some of our children are verbal and nonverbal, and we want to make sure they learn how to express themselves. Another cause of behavior is stress of other stress. Now, what does that mean? Well, we talked about regulating our adult behavior and the stress that we may have. We need to be an example for our kids because sometimes our kids can feel our stress Or if you've ever been one of your friends like, wow, you look like you're stressed out today. We don't realize that we can wear that. But we want to help our children to unpack that by saying, you know what? This is how mommy deals with stress. Sometimes I like need to read a book or I need to just take a deep breath and let it out in order to kind of release that. And there's other strategies, whatever works best for you and your home and your child. That's something that you want to think about, ways that you can help your children not to feel about your stress. Challenges at school can transfer at home and vice versa from home to school. Here's an example. We live in Florida and we had one of the hottest summers this year, right? Well, guess what? What happens if your air conditioner breaks down the whole weekend and you're hot? You're cranky as an adult. The kids are cranky and everybody's hot. And then they have to go to school on Monday morning. And they just are just having an awful day because they're like, I just don't want to go to school. I'm hot. And you know the air conditioning person is going to be coming in while they're at school. Well, maybe share that, communicate with your child's teacher, to help them know, like, hey, my child had a really rough weekend. But reassure them that the air conditioning person is going to be fixing our air, and then let them know the teacher can say, hey, guess what? The air is working in our school. No problem. They're going to cool off and have a great day. So that's a good way to kind of communicate as we examine behavior because having that challenge at home can be brought at school. And sometimes when the kids have challenges at school, right at home, you can communicate with your child's teacher and say, hey, what happened at school today? Did they have a rough day? And maybe they get a chance to go to recess or something, whatever is their fun thing they like to do. And you can provide those opportunities for them at home. We also want to look at examining unsafe behaviors. Some of our children like to bite. We don't want let them we need to know you do not bite people or we do not bite pets. We use biting for food, like an apple. And we want to share with them that how that's very unsafe and that we don't use our teeth for something like that. But having that discussion is so important. We also need to go through our discuss our emotions. Emotions are very important. They need to know what does it look like. You know, every day maybe mommy's not happy. Maybe some days mommy is sad or mommy could be mad. We want to share with them with a visual support, like right here I have for you. Here's the picture. You see that? Does that child look happy? No. Kind of sad. You could have your child to draw a picture of their face and say, draw for me, how are you feeling today? So, why are you sad? Communicate with them and let them share with you. And if they can't verbalize it, maybe they could draw a picture, or you can get some visual support and they could pick out something for you and say, I'm sad, maybe I didn't get a chance to play. Here's a picture of play. And they can point that out to you, or they could draw a picture on their own. But discussing our emotions is so important. And then not only for you as a parent, but also sharing that with your child's teacher. And sometimes the kids they need to know that guess what? Sometimes, look, I'm mad. Why are you mad? Have them to share that with you, and then you share with them. Sometimes mommy gets mad when or mommy's very sad when you don't do some things. But mommy wants you to be happy. And the way you could be happy is that when we talk things out. And that's why I'm going to share with you some ways we can implement some strategies to help our children when it comes to examining their behavior and self regulating their behavior. Here are some strategies on the screen. The first and foremost is be positive. Oftentimes, when we see our children, we're reprimanding them on something and we're always catching them doing something wrong. But how about we start looking at the positive things that they're doing? Recognizing that they're trying to change their behavior. It's like, wow, I really like how you cleaned up one box for your toys. So tomorrow, let's clean up two boxes of your toys. Something you're encouraging them. You're not seeing all the behavior yet, but you're seeing some form of improvement. So they're like, oh, mom complimented me on that, or daddy said something really nice. Being consistent is so important for our children. Just as we discussed in the other slide about having our routines of what happens first, second, third, guess what? Things happen. Say instead of going after school, you always go home, get a snack, but after school, you have to go to the grocery store. Have a conversation with your child, like, you know what, our change of routine is happening today. We're going to go to the grocery store, but maybe at the grocery store, we can get a snack. Kind of let them know, prepare them for what is going on for that day. Another strategy, we can respond with empathy. Responding with empathy is like, look, I understand you had a really challenging day today. Mommy has challenging days also. But guess what? We're going to have a great day. And let's see what we can do to have a great day. Discuss what was challenging for them so they know they feel that they're heard. And then you can come up with some strategies of like, what can we do to make it a better day? Oftentimes, kids say we use a lot of words when we're talking. Using fewer words can help our children to listen and pinpoint on what behaviors that we want them to have. For example, we're going to learn how to set limits. And I'm going to teach you how to set some limits with that, with if then and when then statements. You say, what is that? An if then and when then statement? Let me share the strategy for you on the next screen. If then and when then statements is what I want you to think about what you want your child to do, and then what you are okay with them being able to do something when completing a given task. So remember, the key is you want them to do something, and the second is that you want to make sure that you're okay with it, and the last, they're going to be able to do whatever activity that they want to do, so they can choose. So let's talk about it, and we're going to practice some activities, and then I'm going to ask for you to share in the chat some if then statements or some when then statements. Ready to practice? Okay, on the next screen that I'm going to share, it's going to have a scenario on there. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to kind of read over it, and then I'm going to read it out loud. I want you to think inside as a mindset of how we're going to help out this particular parent to come up with an if then or a when then statement. Place your ideas in the chat so that we can share with one another. You ready? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to read for you. Tasha loves playing with Legos. Her aunt bought her a new Lego building kit for her birthday. She's excited to open the box up and start a new project. Tasha's mom has been asking her to put her clothes in the dresser drawer instead of letting them pile up in a corner of the room. It's been an ongoing battle. Tasha ignores her mother and plays with her Legos and demands her mother to give her gift from her aunt so she can build a new Lego house. Ooh, seems like Tasha's mom has a lot to kind of handle there. What can we do to help Tasha's mom? Take a look back at the scenario on the screen. What's an if then statement that we can utilize to help Tasha's mom work with her child on the behavior of her not wanting to put all her clothes away in the dresser and the outcome that Tasha really wants to have? I'm going to give you a minute to place your responses in the chat. Okay, so what are some things that we can have Tasha's mom share with her daughter? Well, you're right. When you put your clothes in the dresser, then you will be able to play with your new Lego set. So that was a when then statement. Tasha's mom says, hey, I want this task to be done. So what can we do to develop something of good positive behavior? Is that listen, you want something, but I need you to do this first. So remember, a when then or if then statement is something that you as a parent have to be okay with. So if you want your child to complete a task, you give them the short response of when you do this, then this is what can happen next. Okay, take a look at our next learning activity we have. We're still going to utilize if or then or when and then statements. I have for you a piece of paper that says, first we're going to do something, then we do something else. Well, guess what? You can use a regular sheet of paper and write the word first and then if you need this visual support. You can have those bigger pictures, as I have right here. There's some small pictures, or as I recommended, take pictures from your cell phone and use actual natural environment pictures and place them on there if your child needs that visual support. So, for example, if then statements and when then statements don't always have to be like, I'm going to get something out of it. So, I'm going to give you an example. Here's one an if then statement. If you put on your sunglasses, then the sun will not hurt your eyes. Well, here's the key. If your child's complaining about the sun is so bright, right? If they're putting on their sunglasses, then the result is your eyes will not hurt because the sun sometimes can be very blinding. So we let them know that this can work in all parts, in all aspects. And this works for pre K kids all the way up to 12th grade. It is a statement that helps them be very focused. And here's a when then statement. When you finish your homework, then you can watch TV. We want our kids to know, hey, listen, I want you to enjoy the task that you want to do, but first you are required to do something I'm asking of you. So these are some examples. If you have some examples of if then statements or when then statements that you could do with your child at home, please place them in the chat because we can share with one another some ideas like, oh, I didn't think about that one. And that way our children can like, oh, you know what? We're going to start thinking in a new way, if then or when then, to be able to communicate our behaviors. So I'm going to give you a minute to place some ideas in the chat that we can help all of us to work with our children. Thank you for sharing. You can continue to place some more of the if then and when then statements that you can utilize at home, and perhaps we can take some of those ideas and take them with us. I want you to know that positive outcomes are possible. We want all of our children to be successful and have those positive outcomes. One idea that you could do is to keep a log, maybe on your cell phone or a sheet of paper that you can say, okay, let's see what strategies are working and what strategies are not working. Because maybe something may work today that you may have to change the next day, or you have the best strategy you want to take note of that. Oh, this really worked with my child. Let me make sure that I remember some of these if then statements or when then statements. And you always want to check and monitor, see how our child is doing based on the new things that we're implementing. We want our children to be successful at home and we want them to be successful at school. So one thing that I know I like to do when we talk about self-regulation, remember, put on that oxygen mask first to make sure you're taking care of you so you can take care of your child. I love to use this little, see this happy face? If I'm stressed sometimes, I squeeze it. Kind of helps me a little bit, helps me with self-regulation. You know what? But as much as I squeeze it, guess what? There's still a happy face, right? And that's we want our children to be happy. And you want yourself to be happy. So right now today, the very first 10 families that email me, and I'm going to give you my email information. You email me, I'm going to provide for you a little squishy face. You can use this for you or for your child. Sometimes you may just want to give yourself a timeout, a little moment for yourself, and sometimes our kids need that too. So I would love to share this with you because it's great. It's a little self-regulator that I have. All right, families, I share with you from the beginning of this session that I want you to think about the learning goals like our kids have in school. Today, you are my students, and I want to make sure that you are able to meet all of our learning goals. So, let's see if you learned anything today. In the chat, can you define the meaning of behavior? Very good. Can you understand how adult and child behavior plays a role in handling behavior? Hint, hint, hint. Remember, who do we have to take care of first? Right. And then we can take care of our children. We need to learn how to examine challenging behaviors. What are some of those strategies that we talked about? And how are we going to utilize those strategies, be able to help our children at home and also be able to help them at school? We want all of our children to be successful, right? Based on your responses, I'm so proud of you. I know that you have learned some tips and tools today to help your child because it's a road to travel. It's something that you can share with one another, and you share these ideas with some of your friends and family that are having some challenges with their children. But this is something that we can do to help our children have a great, successful life, to be able to learn how to regulate their own behaviors. Do you have any questions? If you have some questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. And if you say, you know what, I don't want to ask in front of everyone, no problem. I'm going to share with you my email address and my phone number, all my contact information, so that you'll be able to ask your questions, and I'll be able to help you with some ideas and strategies with your child. I want to thank you for taking time to go on this journey with me. And remember always, take care of you so you can take care of your child. I'm going to share with you a resource that is sponsored from the Florida Department of Education. It is called Special Education. Special Education Connection is a web based resource that parents and caregivers can use to gain an understanding of what special education is, how it works, and their child enters and progresses through and exits through the world of special education. There are so many great free digital tools that you can utilize by being a part of Special Education Connection. Department of Education will pay for your subscription from the time you register up until your child is age 22. If you have your cell phones out, you can use your cell phone and scan the QR code. Once you scan the QR code, it's going to ask you 4 questions. Very quick and simple: your name, what year your child was born, what grade level they're in, and your email address. Once you sign up, you're going to have access to the world of special education. And if you say, you know what, something's not happening right with my camera, no worries. You can copy down the bit link, and I'm going to give you that, and type it into your web browser. And it's bit.ly/sped connect. This is an awesome resource. I even utilize it. A lot of teachers utilize it. And as parents, there's videos on about IEP meetings. There's it helps you will learn how to write goals for your child when you go to your annual review, and just so much more to understand and help you navigate through the world of special education. Here's my contact information I promised you. My name again is Anjanette McGee Cason. I'm your educational specialist for Florida Diagnostic Learner Resource Systems. My email is on the screen, internet.mcgee@fiddlersaction.org. And you have my phone number and our actual website, which is action.fiddlers.org. Feel free to take a picture of my contact information. And remember, those of you, the first 10 families that email me, you can receive one of these wonderful self regulation happy face squishy balls. On behalf of Orange County Public Schools Parent Academy, and I want to help you enjoy the rest of your day by continuing to give you reflect on all the strategies you've learned through all the sessions. We are so thankful you decided to take time out of your Saturday to join us. Please also take the time to do the survey that's provided for you by using your cell phone and scan the QR code. There's a link for the QR code. It is tinyurl.com/big idea 10423. Once you scan that survey and complete that, it will help us as we have other sessions and great conferences provided for you through Parent Academy. If you have any further questions, I'll stay on for a few minutes, and you can ask those questions in the chat, or feel free to email me. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and join us for any other events that are coming your way. Have a great day, guys. Okay, we're going to hold on for about 30 more seconds before we close out the screen for any last minute questions. I will scroll back to my contact information. Here you go. Take a picture of it, and don't forget, feel free to reach out to me. Scrolling back to this. Okay, guys. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.